You ever noticed how our modern myths, are superheroes? They feel like they've been around forever? Well, sometimes it's because they kind of have. Today, we're going to peel back the layers of a modern comic book legend to find the ancient, super powerful goddess hiding just underneath. Right, so we all know T'Challa. King of Wakanda gets his powers from the heart-shaped herb and the blessing of a panther god. But here's the twist. What if that panther god has a secret identity? One that's thousands of years older and way more complicated than you ever imagined. So this all kicks off in the pages of Fantastic Four. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, they create this incredible world of Wakanda. And right at its spiritual core is this powerful panther deity. At first, it was just called the Panther God, a male spirit that gave power to Wakanda's rulers. It was just a brilliant piece of modern myth-making. But the real story, oh, that starts much, much earlier. To find the true origin of the Black Panther's power, we've got to jump in a time machine and head back to ancient Egypt. And what's so fascinating is that our story doesn't start with a panther at all. It starts with a far more ferocious cat, the lioness. That's right, long before she was the patron of Wakanda, she was known as Bast, one of the oldest gods in the Egyptian pantheon. And in her original form, she was no gentle house cat. She was a fearsome, lion-headed protector of the pharaoh and a straight-up goddess of war. But here's where it gets really interesting. Bast wasn't alone. She had a sister, Sekhmet, who was basically her dark mirror. Now, both were daughters of the sun god Ra, but they embodied two totally different sides of his power. Bast was like the life-giving warmth of the sun, a fierce guardian. Sekhmet, on the other hand, she was his burning, destructive rage. She was the goddess you did not want to mess with. And both sisters held this incredibly powerful and, frankly, dangerous title, the Eye of Ra. This wasn't just some cool nickname. It was a job description. When Ra needed to punish his enemies, he would send his eye, a goddess who was the physical instrument of his will. It meant you were both a divine weapon and a protector. So how in the world does this terrifying, lion-headed goddess of war become the sleek, graceful patron of the Black Panther? Well, the answer's hidden in one of ancient Egypt's most dramatic myths, a story about a goddess so powerful she had to be tricked into saving humanity from herself. The story goes that Ra got fed up with humanity's whole deal. He decided they needed to be taught a serious lesson, so he unleashed his eye in the form of the lioness goddess Sekhmet to do what she did best. And let me tell you, she did not hold back. She went all in, nearly wiping humanity off the face of the earth. It got so bad that Ra, the god who sent her, started to get scared of the very power he had unleashed. Realizing he'd made a huge mistake, Ra had to get creative. He couldn't stop her with force, no way. So he used a trick. He ordered up thousands of jars of beer and had them dyed red to look just like blood. They poured it all over the fields in her path. The lioness, thinking it was a river of blood, drank all of it, passed out, and woke up with her bloodlust totally gone. She was pacified. Now, this myth is all about Sekhmet, but it perfectly explains the huge cultural shift that also transformed her sister, Bast. This idea of taming a fierce goddess mirrors Bast's own evolution. See, as Egyptian society changed and wildcats were slowly domesticated, becoming these valued guardians of the home, well, their goddess changed too. The fierce lioness protector was gradually reimagined, becoming Bastet, the beloved cat-headed protector of the home. And this new version of the goddess, Bastet, became one of the most popular deities in all of Egypt. Seriously. And nowhere was that more obvious than in the city dedicated entirely to her, a place that hosted one of the ancient world's biggest and wildest parties. The city was called Bubastis, which means House of Bast. And lucky for us, the Greek historian Herodotus visited back in the 5th century BCE. He was like an ancient travel blogger, writing down everything he saw, including this incredible temple and the massive festival held there for her. Just listen to how he describes it. You can almost feel the energy, right? This wasn't some quiet, formal religious thing. This was a massive, joyous party on its way to an even bigger party. The journey itself was part of the fun. Herodotus talks about boats filled with people making music. Men on pipes, women on cymbals, everyone singing and clapping all the way down the river. It was a floating festival that ended at the main event in the city of Bubastis. And the scale of this thing, it's just mind-blowing. Herodotus claims up to 700,000 people showed up. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's bigger than Coachella. This wasn't some minor cult. This was mainstream, nationwide love for the cat goddess. Okay, so we've got a lioness of war, a cat of the home, and the host of an epic party. How does all of this circle back to the king of Wakanda? Well, Bastet's real power was in her duality. She never totally lost that fierce side. She was always a divine protector of kings. But at the same time, she was also the goddess of the home, a symbol of family, joy, and music. She had both the raw strength to defend a whole nation and the warmth to protect a single family. So when Marvel's writers finally gave the Panther god a name, Bast, they were tapping into this incredibly rich history, whether they knew the whole story or not. And the parallels? They're just undeniable. The ancient guardian of the king of Egypt becomes the patron of the king of Wakanda. The fierce lioness warrior is reborn as the panther spirit. The protector of the Egyptian people becomes the protector of Wakanda. It's the same core identity, just thousands of years apart. The story of Bastet really shows us that our myths are never set in stone. They change, they transform, and sometimes they even get rebooted for a whole new generation. It really makes you wonder, which of our stories, our heroes and legends from today, will people still be talking about thousands of years from now?